Good evening, everyone. I'm Sri Vigneswari. Today, me and my group members going to present about our daily lesson plan. So, before we start, let me introduce my group members: Shamini, Pavitra, Sharmila, and Ko Ilin. So, the subject that we have chose is Science and Technology, which is for Form 1 student, and our theme is Maintenance and Continuity of Life. So, our main topic is Cell is the basic unit of life. So, let's go to the next slide. So the first part of our lesson plan is the content standard. So our content standard is cell structure, function, and organizations. So the next one is learning standard, which is demonstrate the preparation of slides of animal and plant cell using the correct procedures. So next, let's continue with the learning objective. The first one, identify and describe the basic structure and function of plants and animal cells. The second one will be demonstrate the correct procedures to prepare the slides of animals and the plant cell. The third one will be use a microscope to observe and identify the main components of the cells. The fourth one will be collaborate with the peers and get the student to share the observation and discuss the difference between the plants and animal cells. And the last would be apply knowledge, which is get the student to draw and label what they observe when they do the experiment about the cells accurately. So I will pass the next slide to Shamini. Thank you.
Greetings everyone. I am Shamini will present the learning objective and the lesson introduction of the lesson plan we developed. First is the lesson objective of the lesson. So by the end of the lesson, student will be able to accurately describe the structure and function of plant and animal cells. This can be seen in the introduction of the lesson, where teacher will show a short educational video, as well as also in step 3, the overview of the cells. Secondly, student will be able to correctly prepare slides of plant and animal cells and examine them under a microscope to identify the key cellular components, which falls under the step 5 microscopic investigation, where student will examine the prepared slides under the microscope. Thirdly, student will be able to identify and explain the function of key cellular components observed through step 5 microscopic investigation, where teacher will encourage the students to identify and explain the main components of the cells. Fourth is the they will collaborate effectively with peers, sharing and discussing their observation to enhance collective understanding. Students will also be encouraged to work in groups or pair, where they will share their observation and discuss the difference between animal and plant cells. Fifth is students will be able to use their observation to create a detailed and they accurately label the drawings of cellular structure in step 6. So they will draw the cells they observed. Next, let's move to the next part, which is the teaching and learning activities. The first step would be greetings, where the teacher will greet the student once she entered the classroom. Secondly, the teacher will begin the class by a short recap of the previous lesson, which falls under the living things that are made up of cells. Next is the introduction of the topic of the day. The teacher will quickly write the objective of the lesson and read it out, which focuses on structure and functions of the cells. Then the teacher will explain the students that they will engage in hands-on activities like preparing microscopic slides, and they will get to observe cells through microscope to create curiosity in them. Followed by that, the teacher will show a short animated educational video that explains the difference between plant and animal cells, such as cell wall, cell membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus. So throughout the lesson, The student will be recalling the words used in the video. Progressing by asking the students about cells to test their knowledge of animal and plant cells, and also for the students to recall the words such as cell wall, cell membrane, etc. Next is to provide a simple explanation on cells, that are living things are made up of cells. Before moving on to the next step, teacher will have to provide a short explanation on the cells, which is that all living organisms that are made up of cells. Again, I would like to highlight that the introduction should be simple and precise to grab the students' attention so that they don't get bored. So it is important for the teacher to use the same word again and again for them to remember the words that they're going to use it throughout the lessons. Thank you, and I'll pass to the next presenter.
My name is Pavitra, and I'll be explaining about the step 3 overview of cells. So there is four parts, which is, the first part is introduction to cells. Students are encouraged by defining what cells are and their role as the fundamental building blocks of all living organisms, and they get to emphasize that cells perform various functions necessary for life, such as growth, reproduction, and metabolism. And the second part is the cell structure. Students are introduced to the basic structure of cells, including the cell membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus. And they get to explain how each component contributes to the overall function of the cell. Next is the types of cells. This is very important because students get to differentiate between the prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, highlighting their structural differences and providing examples of each and every cells diagram according to the represented, according to the differentiations, and get to emphasize that plants and animals consist of eukaryotic cells. Okay, the last is the cell function. They get to briefly discuss the functions of cells such as nutrition, uptake and waste elements, and cellular communications. This helps the students to understand how the structure of cells relates to their function.
Hi, my name is Elaine, and I'm here to share what entails after step 3. In step 4, we'll be showing the students how to prepare the microscope slides for the experiment. We will actually demonstrate how to prepare the slides of animal and plant cells. This could involve cheek swab for animal cells, that's the easiest, and then thin slice of onion or leaf for plant cells. We will share with the students what are the materials needed. For example, microscope slides, cover slips, staining solution, samples, uh, cheek cells, onion or leaf, and of course the microscopes. We will also demonstrate the procedure of how to place a sample on the slide, apply the stain and cover it with a cover slip. Last but not least, we will share with the students the importance of handling all materials carefully, which is the safety tips, especially the glass slides. So after step 4, which is preparing the slides, now is the exciting part, which is step 5, the microscopic investigation. This is the hands-on activity where all students are allowed to examine the prepared slides under microscope. Just imagine looking at your chick cells or the animal cells and the plant cells for the first time. Is going to be really exciting, and therefore teachers must instruct and guide the students on how to adjust the microscope to properly view the cells. So, under the observation part, students are encouraged to identify and observe the main components of the cell. So they will observe, they will uh, they will observe where's the nucleus, where's the cell, where's the membrane, where's the cell wall, and they are supposed to observe it under the microscope. Um, Students are usually divided into groups of pairs or small groups to share the observation and discuss the differences between animal and plant cells. Right, so after step 5, is step six. And step six, they are supposed to draw and label the cells. Right. This is also the exciting part for those who love to draw. So this exercise, the teachers have to ask the students to draw the cells they observe under the microscope and labeling the key parts. So materials that will be needed for this section will be paper, pencils, and reference diagrams for guidance. So this will be given out before the at the start of the class. After they have drew whatever they have seen and also referencing to the diagrams, they are encouraged to actually have a brief discussion among themselves about their drawings and observation. This will actually reinforce the learning objectives.
Next is the multiple intelligence, where, as we can see from the lesson plan created, there are few multiple intelligence that are given, and also that includes in the topic itself, which is visual learners can benefit from diagrams and charts, kinesthetics learners from hands-on activities, auditory learners from interactive discussions and videos, logical and mathematical learners analyze the functions and organization of cells through problem solving activities. Interpersonal learners can work in small groups to conduct a cell structure activity, and intrapersonal learners can reflect on their learning through self assessments and observations. Now, next is I'm going to brief about the cross curricular elements that includes in the lesson plan. So the first subject is mathematics, which is integrate mathematical concepts by calculating the size of cells, or we get to analyze data from cell experiments. And language arts, where students get encouraged to write essays or reports on topics related to cell biology, fostering literacy skills alongside the scientific understanding, such as lab reports, where the students get to write a hypothesis, observation, what is the changes and all. History. Explore the historical development of cell theory and the contributions of scientists like Robert Hooke, Anton van Luke van Hoek, and Matthias and Theodore. So it's really important for the student to understand the concept and understand why the theory, the history behind the exploration of the cells experimentations. And next is the art, where students, mainly biology students, where they get to engage in drawing and all. So they are engaged in terms of creating artistic representations of cells through drawings, paintings, or models, promoting creativity and aesthetic appreciation. Because in terms of learning, delving in this topic, cells topic, so it's important for the students to be exposed to visuals, where they it is very important for the students to draw and understand, and it will be easier for the students to it's a part of a photoscopic memory, where students get to see and also memorize the diagram itself. Thinking skills. The first thing is the analytical thinking, which encourages students to analyze the structure and functions of cells, identifying relationships between cellular components and their roles. And then problem solving, where students get to present with hypothetical scenarios or real life problems related to cell biology, challenging them to diverse solutions based on their knowledge of cell structure and function. Critical thinking prompts students to evaluate the reliability of scientific information about cells, distinguishing between evidence based and claims and unsupported assertions. And next is the creative thinking, where students get to be encouraged to brainstorm innovative ideas for potential applications of cell biology in fields such as medicine, biotechnology, or environmental science. So next, let's see the teaching and learning assessment. So for the first point will be describe and demonstrate, which is under objective 1 and 2. So we have 2 points under this describe, and demonstrate. The first one will be informal questioning. Poses questions throughout the lesson to assess student comprehension, which to encourage student active in their participation during the lesson. Number two will be self-assessment, where encourage students to reflect on their own learning by asking them to assess their understanding of the cell biology concept, and from here can identify the areas for improvement. So objective number three will be the microscopic observation, where continuously observe student engagement and participation during hands-on activity and discussion. So this to note their ability to follow instructions and handle materials safely throughout the experiment. Number four, objective number four will be collaboration and communication. So basically, this involve in group activities where students provide feedback to their peers on their observations and interpretations of cell structures. So the objective number five will be the last one, which is application of knowledge. We use the formative assessment techniques such as exit tickets or brief quizzes to evaluate student understanding of the materials covered during the lesson. So basically, this is all the teachings and learning assessment that we use in our lesson plan. So let's go for the next slide. So, for the homework, is a virtual cell tour where students should be placed in a group from to explore the interactive online resources or virtual laboratories that simulate the cell structure and function. So, after exploring the virtual environment, they can write a reflection on what they learned and any insight gained in the report. So, thank you. That's all from me.
Hello, I'm Sarmila here from Group 1. So for this group project, my part in the lesson plan is a conclusion. So through this lesson plan, we have explored more things which is essential components of living things. So to create a lesson plan that centers on cells as the fundamental unit of life, through this investigation, students will able to get a deeper comprehension of the structure and operation of cells, as well as more comprehensive grasp of the complexity of a life on earth. Through this lesson plan also, students able to get a better understanding about cells is crucial, as they are the fundamental building blocks of all living organisms. And through this lesson plan also, student grasps the concept of cell structure, function, and also significance in the broader context of life process. By comprehending cells, students gain insight into the complexity and interconnectedness of living systems. Lesson plan fosters about this topic related to the critical thinking as students, to explore how cells relate to diverse biological phenomena from genetics to ecology. It cultivates an appreciation for the intricacies of life at the microscopic level, sparking curiosity and inquiry into biological science. Ultimately, this lesson instills a profound understanding of cells as not only the basic unit of life, and lastly, the essence of biological existence, laying the groundwork for further exploration and discovery in the field of biology. So overall, this lesson plan, by selecting the topic of cells as a basic unit of life, students can get more ideas and get more info to get a better understanding about this topic. And that's all from me. Thank you.